ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binaries of all ages, welcome to How to Make a Literal Cat in Your Favorite RPG. I hope you're not here to learn how to do character creation the right way, because this is the Cat Creation Podcast, hosted in part by me, Joel.
Hosted in the other part by me, Avalon.
And guested in part by...
me, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Eagle-eared listeners will know this is the second time Chris has appeared on the podcast.
Yeah.
What's been up with you in the past, year we figured out?
Not a huge amount. I've been making games, but I've made about 3 games, got them about 90% done, and then stopped. So this year I'm finishing some stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Am I the first repeat guest you've had, or have you repeat guested somebody else?
I was going to say, I think you
are, I think, the first.
Ha
Yeah.
ha.
Congratulations.
I'm very pleased with myself.
Hey, other past guests, the door is open now. You know my email address. Anyway.
we got a revolving door here. You can come in or out, whatever.
Yeah, but that's kind of, I guess, not entirely beside the point. It is kind of a first for the show, but we're not here to talk about having a second guest. That would be a weird topic for a podcast.
Yeah.
No, we're here to talk about a specific RPG and how to make a character in it. Or, more specifically, how to make a cat in it. Chris, would you like to refresh our audience on you and your credentials and then tell us about the game?
Sure. I'm Chris Longhurst. I've been designing games and selling them to people for about 10 years. You may know me from Pig Smoke, Bleak Spirit, CHUX, any number of other things. That's me, but today, unlike last time when I came on to promote my game CHUX, I'm promoting a different game, somebody else's, Fabula Ultima, the JRPG tabletop role-playing game. It is very JRPG. I'm just looking at my book here, it's extremely anime looking.
Yeah, I kind of did some word association and figured out that Fabula kind of means like fantasy and Ultima means last.
Yeah, it's a very approximate, I think, Latin translation of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Incredible. That explains the foreword.
Yeah, we were talking about the publisher's foreword in here. They dedicated an entire line to saying that an entire generation fell in love with Tifa Lockhart.
I was always more of an Aerith person.
Fair enough.
I dig that answer. I never played as a kid. Actually, I still haven't played. But of what I know, I think Aerith is valid.
Yeah. Funny thing is, since they're remaking the Final Fantasy VII, that means that they're doing it again to a new generation.
Oh boy. Y'all ready to get traumatized by a video game?
Oh, that's already happened.
Oh yeah, like Final Fantasy VII didn't do that. I think it might have been Iconoclasts that really kind of got it in my head. Yeah, it's like a little it's almost like a Metroidvania type thing, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, except for the bit where I had to go for a walk afterwards and process.
But no, Avalon, what you're talking about, where Aerith died, that happened at the end of the second part of the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we got one part to go, and, we'll see what happens. But anyway, so yes, we have this very JRPG-themed tabletop RPG here, which, oddly enough, never once came up when we were looking for RPGs for anime summer season. But
yeah, interesting.
Then again, so many games came up that we did not get to do them all. It is not a surprise to me that there was a few that we missed.
Oh yeah, no. Also, I'm going to get ahead of it and say, if you want to be technical, Final Fantasy isn't an anime, so...
Well, if you want to be technical, there are Final Fantasy animes.
That is also true.
Yeah, good old Advent Children.
Yeah. I still think it's funny that there was a Linkin Park song in the end credits scene for the Japanese version, but not the US, like the English localization.
What? How did they not get that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was a thing that I heard somewhere, that there was a Linkin Park song playing during the credits, but it only in the Japanese version.
Wild.
But anyway, are we ready to make a cat?
Yeah.
Just about. We do have some show rules to go over before we jump into the game rules.
Ah, yes. Very important that we do that. Those rules are as follows. Rule number 1, we accept no cop-outs. We're making a cat, the exact animal that comes to mind when I say the word. no anthropomorphic races, no people turned into cats, no lions, no tigers, no other cop-outs you can imagine.
Rule number 2 is we cannot use homebrew/house rules. If a rule in the rulebook does not explicitly allow us to do something, we count it as a rule broken.
Yeah. Rule number 3. If the game includes stats for a literal cat, those must be used or adapted to the game's character sheet.
I don't believe they have cats in Final Fantasy. Never seen one.
Really?
I don't know. I've never played a Final Fantasy game besides 14.
They have, like, stuff that's based on Displacer Beast. Can't remember what they're called, though.
There is just a guy called Cat Sith.
Oh, yeah.
True. I do know in Final Fantasy 14 there are cat boys and cat girls.
Yes, those are there too.
They gotta have some form of cat, right?
Well, you would think, but also, according to Final Fantasy lore, the gun blade is older than the gun.
That seems impossible, actually.
Maybe the first few just didn't work. Like, it's just a sword with a trigger.
No. I had this explained to me that, like, the gun blade was the signature weapon of a goddess named Gunhilda, and so it was basically, just a sword that had a, like, gunpowder cartridge on it, right? That shot out the bullet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only after that gun was manufactured, or the gun blade was manufactured, that someone thought, wait, what if we just made that without the blade?
Then it wouldn't look as sick, man.
I have never played Final Fantasy XIV, but that is my understanding of Final Fantasy XIV lore.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm saying all that to say that there doesn't necessarily have to be actual cats in Final Fantasy for there to be cat boys who are actually called cat boys. They could come up with some other excuse for why that's called a cat boy.
I see. So no literal cats as far as we know, which moves us on to rule number 4, which is the character, class, background, playbook, job, what have you, must exist in the game's core rules or as part of an official expansion. We cannot use homebrew classes. They don't exist.
No homebrew. I imagine that we talked about this before. I think there are expansions, although I don't have any of them.
Yeah, I've only got 2 of them, and I think we'll be alright with just the core.
Alright. Rule number 5, the cat can learn any skill available to its class, even if it's not something a cat could normally be trained to do.
Rule number 6 is, if a tool would be physically impossible for a literal cat to use, even if comically downsized for them, they cannot use it.
Got any examples?
I've run out of tools to give examples of. You guys get the point by now, right?
I mean, we could always just say a cat cannot wield the gun blade.
That's true. A cat cannot wield the gun blade, and a cat cannot study the blade itself.
Well,
most of the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm looking at the list of classes, and like, maybe this one will end up studying the blade.
We have had cats study the blades.
But the gun blade, that's a weird middle ground that I don't think we can...
Yeah, you've had a cat gun, and you've had a cat who studied the blade, but that middle ground is just unoccupied.
Hey, Final Fantasy XIV RPG devs, reach out to us. We need to talk to you about making the cat gun blade an official item in the rulebook. No particular reason.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Anyway, rule number 7. If a character sheet has a section that is meant to be filled out in collaboration with the whole table, we leave it blank so potential players can make it fit the group that they're playing with.
And finally, rule number 8 is we have to keep track of every rule that we break. So, with the cat rules out of the way, you guys ready to look at character creation?
You know I am.
Yep.
Alright. I guess we should mention before that, there are 2 sections before character creation that are world creation and group creation. And as stated in rule number 7, we will not be doing either of those. So we're going to jump straight to character creation for our one cat.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if there's anything group related that seems a little off, this might just not fit your group. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I'm actually just looking at the character creation section now, and you're supposed to do this with the rest of the group as well.
Oh.
So this is either going to be a really short podcast, or you might want to write that down as a rule broken.
I think we're like if we gotta like do it to like, okay, well these are our stats, and it's like, oh, you determine your stats with the group. I think we're gonna have to not do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just you're supposed to make characters who work together.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing that though.
No, this is the cat who walks alone.
Yeah, or the cat who tries to fit into a group with it just hopes it works out.
Yeah, so either push them into a group or use this for your solo one-shot.
Yep.
It's a handy character creation checklist on page 154.
I'm looking right at it. It's
Yep.
like we got 8 steps.
Yes. Step number 1. Create your character's identity, a short sentence that briefly summarizes how they see themselves at the moment. And there's some examples on the next page, like we got former Imperial strategist, one-eyed samurai, etc. Why? I think you could probably just put literal cat in here and it would work, but there's some random tables a couple of pages later.
Oh, of course we're doing that.
Yeah, I love a random table.
Yeah, we love random tables here.
Okay, so you roll to start with to get a core concept. Anyone got a 6-sided dice and a 20-sided dice handy?
Avalon, you're the one who usually has dice nearby.
Yes, 1 second. I have my dice here, my fancy dice.
Oh, good. I had a dice app ready to pull up on my phone in case you couldn't find them, but...
No, I actually recently ran a game trying to finish up my D&D campaign with my friends so I can move on to a different system.
Nice.
But yeah, so let's see. D6.
And a D20.
Oh, right. I'm going to use both. So let's roll the D6 first.
Yep.
I got a 5, so that puts us on the third.
Yep, third column.
And
Don't roll a 1.
a 5 on the D20.
A noble.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, we can have up to 2 of these. Do you want to get a second one, or do you want to move on to the
Yeah.
next bit? Yeah, let's get a second one.
Yeah. As long as we don't roll another 5 and then roll the 1, I think we're good. I'm looking through these.
Yeah, some of them are better than others.
Alright, so I got a 3
Okay, middle
Okay.
column.
We're safe.
and a 4. A student.
A noble student.
Interesting.
That's not bad for starters.
Yeah, just to be clear, the third table's first option was animated puppet, which would not work for our show's concept of literal cat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, if animated puppet cat made a wish to become a real cat, would
Nope,
that count?
that's not quite people turned into cat, but
Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah, it's non-cat turned into a cat, which is kind of in the same conceptual space.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to say that's a no.
So the next page has got a couple of adjectives. Now, non-human is actually listed on one of these tables.
Oh.
Select a species such as dwarf, elf, saurian, half-dragon, or anything that would make sense in your world. So we could just choose that one and have cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it would be useful to have cat in the, what's we call it? I've forgotten what this bit's called, identity, because later on you'll be able to re-roll dice based on being a cat, so you'll be better at doing cat things.
Okay. And then we got a detail, it looks like, which doesn't have a d6 roll. There's only one table.
Yeah, so it's just a d20.
Alright. See what we get. A 16 of the Storm Knights.
The noble
Okay.
student cat of the Storm Knights.
Sounds like something you'd equip in Diablo.
Yeah, there's your new animal companion.
Just a cat with a wizard hat and some robes, and all it does is cast lightning bolt.
Yeah, just like Torgal from Final Fantasy 16.
I wish I understood that reference.
It's a dog who, you meet him as a puppy. He's like 20 by the end of the game, still going strong. Really the best dog ever.
20 in dog years or 20 in human years?
20 in human years. Like, the dog does not age.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Like, okay, he ages from a puppy to a adult dog, but after that,
He's just like, I'm done.
yeah, I'm done aging. And then he uses his superpowers to stay alive or something. I don't know.
So we got an identity stitched up.
Yep.
The next step is a theme, which is like an emotion that is associated with your character. You can choose any word you like to go in here. There's a list of like 10 examples. It's just a kind of one word feeling that this cat kind of exhibits. And if it's, we can come back to this later if you want to get a better idea of who the cat is first.
We could say curiosity. We are a student and a cat.
That's true.
Yeah, that works.
I like it.
Easy theme.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now for an origin.
Yeah, this is supposed to be, well, you can pick a place that you've already made when you did the world creation, but since we didn't do that, we can just invent a place, and then if you play this cat in your game of Fabula Ultima, you just take that place and you drop it on the map.
There you go.
So we should probably come up with like some sort of place where noble student cats of the Storm Knights might hang out, or be trained maybe.
Yeah, like a university.
Is this a normal university that the cat hangs out at, or is it a specific university for cats?
Good question. Would noble cats have their own special university?
I reckon.
I like to think so, yeah.
All
Like
right.
noble people do, so it's a special university for noble cats.
Yes, Felinius University.
Perfect.
Do we want to give, like, a name to this noble university?
I thought of just like Felinius, like feline, but Ineus instead.
Yeah, Ineus is a good standard fantasy suffix.
The special university just for cats.
I'm trying to
Right.
picture what that would look like.
Probably very disorganized.
Yeah, getting those cats to sit still for a lesson is probably a nightmare.
Hey, if the teachers are also cats, getting the teachers to get through a whole lesson without getting distracted would be a nightmare.
Just put a few hundred cats in one place and hope that some of them teach the others something.
That's what they do with American public school.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
Okay, with your 3 sort of narrative-y bits done, we move on to classes. In Fabula Ultima, each level you get gives you like a rank in a skill from a particular class. So like, I've explained that really badly. Every class has a bunch of skills. When you take a level in that class, you pick one of those skills and you either get it or you add to your level in that skill, making it better. You start the game at level 5, so you have 5 levels to distribute between any of the classes that suit your fancy. You have to have at least 2 and you cannot have more than 3.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah, should we do a summary of like the 15 classes in the core book and then sort of see which ones speak to you?
All right.
Right, they're in alphabetical order, helpfully. At the start we have the Arcanist, which is a summoner type. You can summon Arcanum, which sort of merge with you and you become powerful and can do things.
Nice.
Nice.
We have the Chimerist, which is their thing is like blue magic. Like they can learn spells from beasts, monsters, and plants. But they've also got kind of a druid thing going on. Like they can communicate with beasts, monsters, and plants. Like, yeah, they're sort of blue mage druidy types.
Okay.
I think we should take that one.
The dark.
Yeah. Would a human be considered a beast to a cat?
No, the beast, monster, and plant are specific types of enemy. A
Okay.
humanoid is a separate category.
Let's see.
The Dark Blade is a Black Knight. Their deal is they basically burn their own hit points to make powerful attacks, but they can also do they're quite tanky as well. Like they're heavily armed, heavily armored.
Ooh, okay.
And their skills have names like Agony and Heart of Darkness.
Edgy.
Yep, very much so.
Nice.
You've got an Elementalist, which is your Black Mage. You learn spells that blow things up.
Nice.
Yeah, the Entropist is a time mage. They get you sort of meta magic effects and they can play around with like time and space and that kind of thing. The Fury is a berserker fighter. Yeah, that's as simple as they get angry and they hit things. Guardian is a defensive fighter and can learn a skill that lets them fight with 2 shields at once. The Lore Master knows things. They have a variety of skills based around knowing stuff.
Nice.
The Orator isn't a bard exactly. The bard class shows up in the high fantasy sourcebook. The Orator is more of a sort of persuasive type, like a Silver Tongue type, and they get a lot of like buff and debuff abilities. However, all of the Orator's skills revolve around characters who can, quote, hear and understand you, unquote. So there's a bit of an open question over how understandable is it when a cat rolls up to you and says, meow.
Well, it depends on whether or not, if we have a class that requires us to talk, then we can talk, is usually the way we play that.
Okay. So I just quite like the idea, like, you could activate the encourage ability just by, like, meowing at someone.
Yes.
Like the cat goes meow, and the target immediately heals some hit points and becomes better at stuff. Like, yeah, you're being encouraged by your cat.
We've done a cat like that before. Our tactical support cat from, I think, episode 2.
Yeah, the Orator is very much a support class. They also have the Unexpected Ally skill as an option, which lets you just kind of make friends.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
There's the Rogue. We all know cats have an affinity for crime.
Of course.
Yep.
Rogue skills are mostly about being fast. They do some other stuff as well, but they're quick. One of their skills lets you just disappear from the current scene and show up again later.
Oh, nice.
We have a Sharpshooter, who is all about ranged attacks. Unless we somehow tweak ranged weapons to be usable by a cat, probably not Sharpshooter, I would have thought.
Probably not.
Yeah.
If there's no way to make custom weapons, then no.
Not at character creation, I think. You can get the GM to make you a custom weapon, I think. And there's a projects system, so sort of like in downtime you can make your own custom weapons. But at character creation, I think you just buy the ones that are in the book.
Alright, well, we can't do that then.
Spiritist is your white mage.
Makes sense.
Yeah, healing and buffing. The Tinkerer does a load of stuff with mechanics. Not game mechanics, like gadgets. And they interact with like the inventory system and potions and the project system I just mentioned.
Gadget.
Their gadgets could be alchemy, or they can enhance their own attacks with like adding magic to attacks, or they can make magitech bits and pieces.
I love magic tech.
Yeah. Magitech is a standard part of Fabula Ultima. Like, it's just in. Like, regardless of the world you make, Magitech is in it. And if you want to get really into the techno part, the techno fantasy supplement has also, like, makes it properly high-tech with, like, interplanetary stuff and magic versus technology themes and things like that.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Okay, next class. The Wayfarer. The Wayfarer is about travelling about. I don't think they have any combat skills, but there's mechanics in Fabula Ultima for, like, going about the place, like travel systems and things. And the Wayfarer is really good at going places.
We could pick that just so we can say this cat's going places.
They also have the ability to take the Faithful Companion skill, which means we could have a cat who also has a cat.
This is going to be a Scooby-Doo all the way down situation. I'm trying to remember which...
I think the last time we were given the power to give our cat a pet, we gave it a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Faithful Companion has to be a beast, construct, elemental, or plant. So alas, you can't take a person as your Faithful Companion.
No, but it doesn't sound like you ruled out saber-toothed tiger.
Oh no, that would be in the beast category. You could totally take a saber-toothed tiger.
We're about to do it again.
And your final class in the core book is the Weapon Master, the cat who studied the blade. They have a bunch of skills about.
Nice.
Classic.
So I kind of think since we have a background as a knight, right, and as a scholar, I kind of feel like we need to take Lore Master and Weapon Master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chimerist would also potentially allow us to have some power that, the whole talk to beast thing, we do potentially have a leg up on that already. Playing as a beast and all that.
Yeah.
But does it make it less special since we're already a beast, so we can already talk to beasts?
Well, the only thing is, it would mean that we don't necessarily have a reason to be able to talk to humans. I think if we wanted that one, we'd have to take Orator.
I was thinking Guardian, just because of the thought of having a cat clad in heavy armor, standing at the front of a group, just wielding a giant greatsword.
Of course. And then, of course, we can't rule out Rogue.
Yep.
Yeah. Rogue is such an easy fit for any cat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is. There's some really good cat-like skills in Rogue, but it feels kind of easy.
Well, easy's not always bad.
That's true. Plus, if we do want to do Rogue for the literal cat aspect, we do still have Lore Master and Weapon Master to get us other skills and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we don't necessarily have to do Weapon Master. We could do Guardian instead. We could do Darkblade instead, technically.
Yeah.
Just one of those three that gives us the weapon training.
Yeah. I think martial melee weapons comes from Darkblade. Fury, I think, gets it as well. Weapon Master. Guardian doesn't. Guardian gets martial armor and shields.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's still potentially fitting for a knight. That's the part that I'm most worried about.
Ooh, this is tough.
I think Lore Master seems like a good choice with the curious theme and the whole student identity.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we have to go Lore Master.
This is a question of what fighting class or classes you want to line up next to it.
Yeah, Lore Master, and there's a couple ways we could play this, I think. One, we take one of our knight abilities, and then we take Chimerist to have some potential practical book learning for the field, and also lean into our ability to speak to beasts. We take Orator to give us the ability to talk to humans, or we take Rogue because we're a cat.
Yeah, I like Orator just because I think a lot of its skills would be very funny if practiced by a cat.
Okay, let's do that then.
I'm down for that. I love a good funny option.
Also, it gives us the ability to talk to the people.
Yeah. Now, think on this. We go Darkblade, and this cat is super edgy. Always sits in the back of class in school, has like all black spiked fur.
Hood drawn over their head, and then they cast it off in battle, and there's just like a full like demon knight armor set on under it. Yeah, I get the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's another one you guys want to do.
No, I'm down.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good combination. Because we've got 3 classes, we're going to have to be a bit sort of abstemious about the skills we pick.
It's fine.
But we do get the 3 benefits that come with all of them.
Already getting the idea for the episode title. Making the Edgelord student in...
I think that works.
Alright, for now, I'd note down the 3 benefits you get from these classes, because they'll be important later. Darkblade gives you +5 maximum hit points, martial weapons and martial armor proficiency, for want of a better word. Loremaster gives you +5 maximum mind points for casting spells and stuff, and Orator gives you another +5 maximum mind points.
So this cat's real big brain.
Yep. Yeah, there's stuff they can spend mind points on, just looking at the various sort of abilities and things.
Oh, that's good, because our cat works out at the library.
Yeah, so we've got 5 levels to split between the 3 classes. So I guess it's going to be like 2 and 2 and 1, or 3 and 1 and 1.
I'm thinking we only put 1 in Lore Master.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you put 1 level in Lore Master, you pick one of the 5 skills listed, and they're all pretty good. Let's see, Flash of Insight lets you ask more detailed questions when you study things. There's a study action you can take during conflicts, which like tell you more about whatever it is you're facing. And yeah, Flash of Insight lets you get better answers. Focused gives you more mind points, and I can't remember what an open check is. It gives you a bonus on open checks. I don't think we need focused because we've got plenty of mind points already and not much to spend them on. Knowledge is power. When you perform an accuracy check, which is what you're doing when you make attacks in combat, you can replace one of your attribute dice with insight. And we'll kind of get to them in a bit, but it basically means you can use your brain to make attacks.
Oh, like a headbutt.
Yeah, something like that.
Sure.
And the other 2 skills, quick assessment, that lets you spend a bunch of mind points, and you can immediately learn things about creatures in a conflict, which is very useful. And one of my personal favourites, trained memory, which lets you perfectly recall the details of any scene you visited within the past week. If there's one thing I've learned from playing role-playing games for most of my life, it is that photographic memory skills break most systems wide open.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just like, I would like to mentally revisit this scene that happened forever ago in real-world time. Could you accurately describe everything that was in this room we visited 4 sessions ago, please?
Trained memory specifically only works for a week, so I think they saw this one coming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, nobody's gonna remember what they did in session 1.
Potentially. And do we get all of these to start, or just like...
You get 1, and 3 of them you can get like multiple levels in. Like, you could buy Flash of Insight once or twice or 3 times, and it kind of gets better as you invest in it. Knowledge is power, and trained memory only have 1 level each, so you either have them or don't. But because we put 1 level into Lore Master, you just pick one of those and you get 1 level in it.
Alright.
I feel like knowledge is power is really good, like, for actual playing, but trained memory just kind of makes sense for, like, this cat who is actively in school.
Yeah.
You know, they're edgy, but maybe they're, like, really good at what they do, you know?
Maybe that's why this cat is like adventuring, because unlike the other cats who show up to Cat University and like maybe learn something and maybe don't, because he remembers things so well, he's just absorbed all this knowledge. He's like, well, I've learned everything I can here.
Mm-hmm.
Time for my summer internship, which I will quote-unquote forget to return from.
Oh no, how did this happen?
You know, guys, I got a job from my my mentor. What can I tell you?
So do we want to go train memory then?
Sure, let's do that. The only other thing I could think to take would be like quick assessment, which would be like the Final Fantasy scan skill, but trained memory I think might be better.
Knowing an enemy's like weaknesses and stuff is really important in Fabula, because that's a lot of the combat system is about exploiting enemy elemental weaknesses. So quick assessment it's a good skill to have. The other thing is you don't have to focus on combat skills in this class because we've got the Darkblade for combat skills.
Yeah.
So you can focus on more narrative skills from the Lore Master.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Kind of like the way the Wayfarer... I don't think Wayfarer has any combat skills. Like, they're entirely focused on going places.
This episode was brought to you by nobody, because we don't have a sponsor.
Yeah, nope. 0 sponsors. We're sponsored by ourselves.
Yeah, that means that this program is completely brought to you by the contributions of viewers like you.
Yeah, viewers like you, guy wearing cargo shorts today. I think you're looking good in those.
Yeah. We've decided that if we're going to keep doing specific call shots, we got to be specific about things other than people's names.
Yeah, the names are too narrow.
Yeah, plus the specific car makes and models. Those called shots are going to take way too long to pay off.
One of these days, though.
Yeah, one of these days. And guys, if you know a Terry who drives a red Ford F-150, or I literally can't remember a single other one we've done.
I can't either. I probably mentioned a Toyota Corolla at one point because this is a reliable car that I know of.
Yeah, I think my mom had one of those once.
Nice. But no, if you are wearing cargo shorts today, they can be khaki shorts too. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
This is your call out to go check out the webpage. You can go over to badgertrove.com/literalcatpod. See what's going on with the show over there. You know, got a little extra info, got some links to socials and stuff.
Yep. Really, that is the best place right now to get information about the show. It is where I would recommend you send people if they're asking you questions about the show. It is really the place to learn about how to make a literal cat in your favorite RPG. Anything you could possibly want to know, it's on that page.
Yep.
Really, I need to be sending that webpage out to, like, journalists and stuff, and I just keep forgetting because I have other things as well, like editing the show.
Yeah. Something pretty important up on that list.
Yeah. We gotta get, what's her name? Who's the person at Rascal who does the actual plays and stuff?
I have no idea.
1 second. I'm looking this up. Oh, it is Rowan Zaioli. Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay. Like Joel said, if you have friends that want to know about the show, you can send them over to that link. But if you want people to know about the show who aren't your friends, there is a way that you can do that. And that is by rating and reviewing on your favorite podcast app.
Yeah. Hey, guys, anyone listening to this, if you're wearing black lipstick today, this is your sign to go give us a rating.
Yeah. Tell us how we're doing.
Yeah, hey, this is fun.
Calling people out?
Yeah, calling people out, but like, you know, instead of doing precision strikes that are missing the mark, we're doing to whom it may concern. We're casting fireball instead of firebolt.
I love the oxymoron of precision strikes that are missing the mark. Not very precise strikes, huh, Joel?
Well, the target has to be there first.
That's true. We're just firing these off into the aether and hoping that they hit their mark.
Yeah. Eventually, it will probably, like, any of the people, like, specific name in specific vehicle, that shot will eventually hit its mark. The mark is just so far away.
We're going to be on our 10th year, and finally somebody's going to be like, oh my gosh, you'll never believe it. Found this podcast while I was driving my red Ford F-150.
Yeah, we'll get you one of these days, Terry. I should really go back and make a list of those so that we know for sure when we've actually hit a called shot in that regard.
Yeah, we're going to have to write our list down.
But in the present, if you're wearing khaki shorts or cargo shorts, check out the website. Really, if you're wearing shorts, you should check out the website. And if you're not wearing shorts, what's wrong with you? It's so hot out right now.
It's so hot out right now. It is miserable. People will look you dead in your face and say that this is their favorite season, and I feel like they're lying.
Man, it used to be my favorite season, back when I went to the pool all the time.
Back when the hottest day of the year was like 100 degrees and not, 130 degrees.
Yeah, that too. But anyway, we got other things to talk about. We told you to go to the website. We told you to rate and review. Have we told you our email accounts?
I don't think we have.
Here's one for you. If you have a cat, this is your sign to email us pictures at literalcatpod@gmail.com.
Yes. If you have a cat, you're legally required. Send us some cat pictures over there. We've done it before. We'll do it again. We could give your cat a shout out. We could turn your cat into a playable cat. And you can help us do that by, on top of sending cat pictures, you can use that email to send us game recommendations, send us little challenges, or like something you'd like to hear from the show. Anybody that does want to bring this podcast to other people, aka sponsor us, get at us there. Yeah, lots of things. And again, email is literalcatpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, I think actually that's the important stuff. Oh yeah, follow us on socials at Literal Cat Pod. That one goes to all of you. You know you want to.
Yeah, that's just everybody. You have to do that right now.
Yep.
Unless you're driving.
Nope, even then.
Oh,
Pull
okay.
over.
Pull over, and then go follow.
Yeah, otherwise you're gonna forget. I know you.
Yeah, you'll forget. Just like you forgot the other thing that you're about to remember right now.
What? Sorry, what's that?
Oh, I don't know. But the person who's listening to this will know. They'll know what they forgot.
Oh, they just remembered that they lost the game.
Oh, I lost the game. God. I hate this. I hate it here.
Look, I'm sorry. I gotta take you down with me.
Man, it really is engineered to just make everybody in the room upset with one person.
Yep.
Okay, well, I think we've talked about all the stuff we want to talk about for the show. Joel, what you got going on online? What you need to shout out to the people?
You can find me on all socials at OMAMERVT. That's OMAMERVT. And actually right now, if you are a fan of this show, you should check out my YouTube channel, because I just published a video that's along these lines. I just put a bunch of my new VTuber friends as playbooks in Monster of the Week and made a video about it for YouTube.
It is a good video, by the way. And I know I'm biased because Joel and I hang, but I watched the whole thing twice. It was good.
Twice? You shouldn't have.
I watched the pre-upload one that you sent, and then I watched it again when you uploaded it.
Oh, thanks. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all for me. Just OMAMERVT, go watch my YouTube video. Avalon, what about you?
You can find me on the internet, mostly Blue Sky and Twitch, both at Avalon Alchemist. I haven't been doing much streaming, yet again, real life grinding. But I'm trying to make more time to actually stream. Things I have lined up: more Night Rain, Lies of P DLC, Resi 7.
You're getting into the Ethan Winters arc of Resident Evil.
Yes, the Faceless Man.
Yeah, the guy who can heal himself by pouring rubbing alcohol on his severed arm.
I love that. I know very few things about Resident Evil 7, but I know that they're more horror than they are, like, action horror, like the goofiness of 1 through 6, and I'm not excited. I've played the opening sequence of 7 and almost pissed myself. And then I was at a friend's house watching them play through part of 7 with the giant slug baby that follows you. And just sitting in the room, I was so freaked out. I was like, I'm not even the one making the choices. So if you want to see me get scared, once again, that's twitch.tv/Avalon Alchemist.
It's my understanding that, like, Resident Evil 7 was, like, a genuine return-to-form survival horror game.
Yes.
Whereas 8 kinda goes back to the campiness that you got in 4, 5, and 6.
I've heard that too. 8 gets a little goofy. But 7, yeah. 7 was supposed to be, like, their soft reboot. And they did a pretty good job of soft rebooting the franchise, but they made it way too scary.
What are you gonna do?
Not much you can do. Just play the games, I guess. I will be playing them in broad daylight with all of my lights on. You can bet your bottom dollar on that.
Alright. I guess, for now though, let's get you back to Fabula Ultima. So, do we want to do Darkblade next? Or I guess we got Orator listed
Yeah,
next.
we can bop around between them. Yeah, Orator's right next to Lawmaster in the class list, so...
Makes sense. First skill I see listed is Condemn. That's awesome.
Yeah. You perform a check against a creature that can hear and understand you. Describe your accusations. Hiss. And if you succeed, they lose a bunch of mind points and become dazed or shaken. I can't remember what those do.
Probably delay your turn.
Something like that. Like a stun/confusion.
Yeah, something like that.
Then we got Encourage, which is the one you were talking about before. During a conflict, you may use an action and spend 5 mind points to choose another creature that can hear and understand you. That creature recovers, what is that, skill level times 5?
Yeah. So if we put 1 point in, that'll be 5 hit points. 2 points gets us 10 hit points.
Okay, so we have to have the points for that skill.
Basically, the more points you put into encourage, the more effective it is.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that was the one I was talking about where, cat goes up to you, meow, and suddenly your wounds are healed and you're stronger.
Or maybe your wounds aren't healed, but you no longer feel the pain. Who knows how that works?
Yeah. You gotta steel yourself to defend this cat.
Yeah. I do think we take use one of our 2 skill levels. Or how many skill levels do we want to put in this one? We've got 4 left, technically.
Yeah, so it's either going to be is 3 and 1 or 2 and 2. And we haven't looked at Darkblade yet, so it might be worth, picking out some, say, 2 skills here, and then going and looking at Darkblade and then deciding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked up Dazed and Shaken. Both of them temporarily reduce an enemy's insight or willpower. So Condemn is a really good way for dealing with enemy spellcasters.
Oh, that makes sense.
That'd be fun.
So, do we want to say Condemn and Encourage to start with?
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty versatile. We've got 1 buff, 1
Yeah.
debuff. Yep, that's a good selection to start with.
Alright, and then Darkblade is on page 184.
Mm-hmm.
And those are Agony, Dark Blood, Heart of Darkness, Painful Lesson, or Shadow Strike.
So edgy.
Yeah,
What is Crisis?
that's half hit points.
Oh, okay. Because I see there's one here that as long as we're in Crisis, we have resistance to dark and poison damage.
Yep. I say Shadow Strike might not be a good choice here. It's the one where you basically burn your hit points to make a bigger attack. It's based on your might die, and I think the abilities from Orator really want you to have good insight and willpower instead. Or Condemn does.
So we're not going to put a lot of points in might to start with.
Maybe not. I mean, we could, but it's worth thinking about this sort of stuff.
Okay. With Heart of Darkness, once per scene upon entering Crisis, you may choose a specific creature you can see that you don't have a bond towards. If you do, create a bond of hatred towards that creature.
Yeah, I've forgotten what bonds do, but they're quite important.
That's funny, and it feels on brand.
It does.
I mean, yeah, if a cat gets scared, half HP, then they're gonna be mad.
I mean, let's see, we've also got Painful Lesson. After another creature causes you to lose hit points with an attack, a spell, or any other method, you may immediately perform the study action on that creature for free. If you do, gain a bonus equal to your skill level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kind of ties in with like the Lawmaster angle.
Yeah, I feel like that's what if we did the Heart of Darkness and Painful Lesson?
I'm down for that.
Yeah?
I feel like those lean into our scholarly background.
Yeah. Although something worth thinking about perhaps is Heart of Darkness lets you create bonds of hatred towards creatures, and the Agony ability lets you regain hit points and mind points if you damage a creature you have a bond with.
Oh, I see.
Ooh,
You can start putting combos together.
that is a great combo.
I mean, Painful Lesson might work just fine. Because I'm thinking, the cat doesn't have to be a combat cat, even though it's got martial armor and melee weapon proficiencies.
I think we should do the combat options for this, since both of our other classes are non-combat focused. I think having at least, for lack of a better word, at least one win con in a fight would be really good.
So you're thinking Agony and Heart of Darkness then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, that is basically your class generation. Got a cat who remembers everything, can buff, can debuff, and can fight a bit, and is better at fighting people, well, probably people they hate, but it doesn't have to be a bond of hatred.
Mm.
There's other ways to make bonds, like affection or admiration, stuff like that.
Not for us. At least not from our class abilities.
No, but yeah, that's your class abilities, and now I'm gonna go look for the character generation. Okay, next up, die sizes. You got 4 attribute scores: dexterity, insight, might, and willpower. And there are 3 possible things. You can have a D8 in each of them for a well-rounded character. You can have a D10, D8, D8, D6 if you want to be good in one area. Or you can have D10, D10, D6, D6 if you want to be quite specialized.
So I feel like average would make sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You said insight is the one that we need to be the best at, probably.
Yeah. Orator likes insight for the condemn ability, and looking ahead, Lawmaster has a skill that's based on insight as well. In fact, has a couple of them.
Okay, so we give insight our D10, probably might and dexterity for the D8s.
and then a d6
Yeah.
willpower.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it?
Alright, so looking at the character sheet, I kind of see what you're... So, the status effects would serve as debuffs for the appropriate attribute. Okay.
Yeah, I think Dazed reduces insight by 1 size, and Shaken reduces willpower.
Oh, I see. And if you get weakened and shaken, then you're poisoned.
Or I think maybe it's just enraged affects both dexterity and insight, and poison affects might and willpower.
Okay, yeah, that could be it too.
Yeah, that looks like it.
Alright, now we calculate our HP and our mind points, which I guess that's what MP is.
Yes.
Then I see we've also got IP, which I'm guessing is intellectual property.
Yep,
Yeah.
got it on the nose.
That's how well protected your
Yep.
identity is.
No, it's probably the initiative thing on the next page, but we'll get to that later.
It's inventory. IP are inventory points.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you don't have you don't track it like every potion you have. You have 6 IP, and you can spend those to like pull potions and other bits and pieces out of your backpack as necessary.
Gotcha. Okay. Anyway, let's actually focus on the step we're on.
Yeah, hit points. Your total character level, which is 5, plus 5 times your base might die size, which I
Yes.
believe is a D8.
Yep.
So that's 45, plus I think we get another 5 from Darkblade, giving us 50 HP.
Yes.
Beefy.
Yeah, that's pretty good for a starting character.
Also, if like the base like expectation would be 25, and then I guess the lowest it could be is 30. Yeah, 35 is the lowest it could go.
Yeah, and the highest would be 55. Or actually possibly higher if you take a bunch of
Yeah.
HP boosting classes.
Wait, I think our hit points are 55, not 50.
So
Total character level, 5 times your base, and then
Might.
plus 5
So our base
from
is
the Darkblade. So
yeah,
45.
base might is D8, so that'd be 5 times 8 is 40, plus 5 from level is
Oh,
45,
40.
plus 5
Okay,
from
yeah.
dark level.
Yeah.
Darkblade is 50. So, they're fairly beefy. Not dedicated tank beefy, but
Mm-hmm.
they can take
Yeah.
a hit.
Could become a dedicated tank if he put his mind to it, but
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily start there.
Well, the way the game works is characters change over time, because you'll eventually you can only take 10 levels in any given class, and then you have to kind of jump to a new one.
Okay.
Over time, this cat will go through changes and become something else. Still a cat, but a different kind of cat. And then MP are same formula, but based on willpower instead, which I believe we took a D6 in.
Yes.
Yes.
So 5, 6 is 30, plus 5 for level is 35, and then we've got 10 from MP boosting classes, so 45 MP.
Yeah, we kind of slacked on that, but we still came out okay.
Yeah, because we don't have a huge number of ways to spend them. I think Condemn uses MP, and yeah, that might be it.
All right, guys, you heard it.
Oh, Encourage
You
uses
heard him.
MP as
You're
well.
you're gonna be condemning a lot of people.
Yep. You got hiss on your left mouse button, meow on your right mouse button.
Yep, got those loaded in. Anyway, so yes, our maximum inventory points are equal to 6. There's no math there. It's just 6.
Yeah, it's just 6. Some classes boost it, but we didn't take any of them.
Gotcha.
Let me guess, Wayfarer would have boosted it.
Yeah, Wayfarer, Tinkerer, and I think Rogue boost inventory points.
Yeah, you need all that crime inventory for all your ill-gotten gains.
Yeah, they do boost IP.
You know how else you can get ill-gotten gains is just by going to a really unethical gym.
Me when I use my dark protein.
Using G Fuel for your pre-workout.
So that's actually what happens when people like snort their pre-workout. Which, I'm gonna be real, I have no idea how that helps people.
That can't be a real thing. Snorting protein?
It is a real thing. People do it, but I don't know why.
When it comes to gym stuff, there is a lot of nonsense floating around.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's a bunch of gym bros being like, oh, it's better for you. It's like, I don't think it is,
Gets
man.
into your bloodstream faster or something. It's like,
I don't think you want protein in your blood.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where it goes.
yeah, I don't know.
See, I have an iron deficiency, so that's why I snort grounded up metal flakes. Get it right into my blood.
that wouldn't help you, but
No, that's not going to help with anything.
no, you should really just eat more spinach and Brussels sprout. Those are the ones with iron, right?
Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah, that's
Spinach,
what I thought.
I think so,
definitely.
yeah.
Broccoli's not bad either.
Broccoli, I think, is good. Also, spinach is a great vegetable.
Yeah, I was expecting to hate it because everyone made it sound terrible. Then I looked it up. Apparently the reason everyone hates it is because for the longest time, mostly because of the Popeye the Sailor Man show, everyone was buying canned spinach.
Ugh. Yeah. Canned spinach, not good. Fresh spinach?
Yeah, that stuff's nice and soft and...
Like, a spinach and artichoke dip?
I actually quite like. Well, I like frozen shredded spinach because you can just toss it in anything, and it sits in there and makes it better.
Just like your bay leaf.
Yeah, good old bay leaf. Those are the ones that are like super crunchy, right?
I don't know that you technically eat that. You just kind of put it on top of a thing while it's cooking.
Yeah.
And it,
yeah, it's like it just kind of steeps flavor into something. You stick it in like a stew or a sauce or something.
Oh yeah, right. I've never eaten a bay leaf.
Oh, okay.
I was just making.
I was gonna say it's more like a thing that like you more taste when it's not there than you do when it is there. Like bay leaf itself doesn't have that much flavor. It's just what it does to everything else while it's cooking.
It's like charcoal. You wouldn't eat it, but when you're making stuff on a charcoal grill, that flavor seeps in.
What you use to smoke it and all that it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You can eat charcoal. You can get like charcoal biscuits. I wouldn't recommend it.
I have seen that. Like, they say charcoal is, like, good for your teeth, so, like, I have a charcoal-infused toothbrush.
I've also seen charcoal-infused lemonade, which I've been told not to drink if I'm on certain medications, but luckily I'm not on those medications.
Yeah.
Alright.
Charcoal inhibits absorption of medications into the stomach, so you're not supposed to have charcoal biscuits or whatever if you're taking pills.
Oh, maybe I need to find a new toothbrush.
I think unless you're absorbing your medication through your teeth, you're probably fine.
Yeah, I'll be alright.
Yeah.
I don't swallow my toothpaste.
Thank goodness.
I get all my fluoride from the city water, alright? Alright. Where were we at?
Calculate your defense, magic defense, and initiative, right?
Yep, that's easy. Defense is equal to dex die size. Magic defense is insight die size, and initiative is 0.
Neat.
Okay.
So we're real good at blocking magic.
Yeah. A good defense character start is like 12.
I think that's as high as it goes, isn't it?
I think it's about as high as you can pump it at character creation. I haven't tried to see how high I can get it.
Someone out there, if you're making a Fabula Ultima character, try and figure out how high you can min-max your magic defense.
Walk into a school of wizards and just rain hell.
Hey nerds, check this out.
Now, what you gotta do is rage bait them all, and then just, like, block their attacks with your mind.
Talking about Slay the Spire, man. Just...
And then because they're all attacking you, if anyone that does even 1 point of damage, you can create a bond of hatred with. Yeah, and then like every time I hate one of these guys, if I get a counterattack in, I'm back to full.
We just made the most infuriating tank build.
And because we're an orator, we can just walk into the wizard school and be like, "Hey, idiots, debate me." And they're all like, "Debate this fireball." And you're like, "Okay, valid argument. However, have you considered counterspell?" Or no, what is it? No, what's our thing? It's condemn, right?
Yeah, condemn.
Yeah. It takes away all their spell points.
Yeah, it's like nice argument, loser. Counterpoint, condemned.
Condemning you to a life of 0 magic and 0 beats.
Well, hey, they were at magic school. You don't need to do the second one.
I think, in a fantasy setting, wizards are cool, but in real life, if somebody says, I went to a magic school...
Yeah, that dude's getting laughed out of the room. Though it depends. Like, if
he gets laughed at and turns into a dove.
Yeah. Thing is, if he comes back and he's like, I learned street magic... Now suddenly, yeah, see? You agreed.
Yep, now you're back in.
Yeah, just David Blaine them all. Everyone's gonna try and recruit you for their Now You See Me heist.
God, I would love to see somebody attempt to do a magic heist in real life. It'd be so funny. I can't wait for Now You See Me 2 to come out.
Excellent news.
It might inspire someone to try it.
There's already a Now You See Me 2.
It's coming out this year, right? Right. Sorry.
Wait, they're making a third one?
Yeah, the third one just got announced.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, you didn't hear about this? I think it's actually called Now You Don't. Like, that's the subtitle.
Huh.
Yeah, Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
That would have made sense if it was the second one.
See, that's what literally the entire world said, and they were like, nah, now you see me too.
But hey, they learned for the third one.
It's now you see me 2, and then now you see me 3, now you don't.
Have they figured it out?
They got there eventually, so...
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they call the fourth one if they ever try and do that.
I don't know. I feel like the third one is gonna be like a massive decrease in quality. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna go see that, but like, I don't think it's gonna be as good.
Yeah, I mean, when did Now You See Me 2 come out?
Like 2016, 2017?
2016, yeah. Oh my gosh. June
Literally,
10th of 2016.
Huh.
9 years to the day.
9 years ago?
To the day. That's whack.
When people hear this, it will be July, 9th? Which is both the show's anniversary and my birthday. Just throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
So happy show anniversary, everyone. We'll celebrate it next episode.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll get there.
You mean, that's a year, right?
It's
more than a year. Yeah, it must be.
Yeah, we've been going for at least 1 year.
At least.
Your pilot episode is apparently July 13th, 2022. So we're looking at like 3 years.
3 years. That's a lot. We gotta get the show a birthday cake.
Hey guys, join our Patreon so that we can afford to get a birthday cake for the show. Sorry, we're not in the mid-roll. Also, we're off track again. Where were we?
Yeah.
I think we got to like purchasing equipment.
Yes.
You got 500 Zenit to buy stuff with. We have access to martial weapons and armor. Although, I'm going to make a quick pitch. For 200 Zenit, you can get a mount. So the saber-toothed tiger is back on.
Oh?
Okay.
It's an idea. It carries one or two passengers, and it costs like 2/5 of your starting money.
Where's the martial weapon category?
They're in with the other weapons, but they're marked with like a red diamond.
Oh, okay. That's what all these are.
Yeah. In the sword category, there is a katana for maximum edginess.
This would be our second katana.
Now, the other advantage of a katana in this system is it uses insight as one of its attack dice.
We should do that.
So we'll actually be quite good with it.
Let's see. And then we can either have armor or a mount.
Yeah, basically. Because the katana's what, 200? Yeah.
Most of the armor...
Yeah, expensive.
The mount's 200, and most of the armor is like pricey.
Actually, if we don't get martial armor and just get like a basic travel garb, then we could still afford a mount.
Yeah.
Because travel garb is 100 Zen, and it comes with a +1 to our dexterity and insight roll.
I think that's just for the purposes of defense, but yeah. Bump it to what, like 9 and 11? That's pretty good. It's not bad for starters. Alright. And the mount, quite apart from being like jokes, is actually useful because it doubles your land travel speed, and that actually means something.
Alright. So, can we actually do, like, we've been joking, but can we actually saber-tooth tiger mount?
It is just a terrestrial mount, so it is whatever you want it to be. It won't fight for you unless you pick up Wayfarer's Faithful Companion skill.
So we'll have to buy it later. Got it.
Yeah, and a terrestrial mount can only travel on land, but that's it. It will carry 1 or 2 people, so we could take one of the other characters along on our saber-toothed tiger, and it lets us travel at twice the speed we would normally go by walking.
Alright. Yeah, I think the only thing left to do then is give our cat a name and some finishing touches.
Yeah.
We've got this big table of names, but no way to roll on it.
Yeah, it looks like it's not a convenient D20 selection either. On the other hand, I've got a random number generator, and I think there's like 40 in each column, I'm estimating. 35 or 40 anyway. So I could pull a random name or two out of the list and see what comes up.
Unless I miscounted, I think there's 32 per row.
I count 34.
I must have miscounted then.
That's okay. Random.org will generate me random numbers.
Alright, so we need 1 through 4 and then 1 through 34.
It's 5 columns, so...
1 through 5 then.
Alright, let's see what we get. So our 1 through 5 number is 2. And our second number is 17. So somewhere in the middle.
17 is Eric.
Eric.
Could be
worse. Not a bad name for a cat. Well, if we go one further down, we get Etrian.
Ooh, Etrian is a very edgy name.
Yeah, that's the Dark Knight cat name. Let's do Etrian instead.
Maybe his real name is Eric and he just calls himself Etrian.
I like that because I knew a guy in high school whose name was Eric, and he was like kind of an edgelord.
I feel like there's 2 ways to go if you're an Eric. One, you be an edgelord, and then you come up with some not Eric name for yourself. or you go like full like white knight like direction and you just like join the basketball team. I don't know. You either the most normal guy ever or an edgelord who does not want to be called Eric.
Eric either evolves into Eric the Cleric or Elric.
Yeah.
Elric the Knight.
Just bases as...
Though Eric the Cleric has such a nice ring to it.
You either join the basketball team or base your personality off of Full Metal Alchemist. Those are your options if your name is Eric.
Yep. You get 0 other choices in life, so pick wisely.
Yeah. And hey, look, Eric, I know you're listening. You know which one is the right one for you. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't second guess yourself.
You already know in your heart.
And any other Erics out there, you also know. Anybody
yeah, you already know. And you know based on how much you hate your name.
What are the odds we have more than one listener named Eric? I would say pretty good.
What are the odds we have one listener named Eric? There are so many names out there, and we've got, 120 listeners?
I'd say our odds are pretty good, and Eric is a very common name.
Okay, you got me there.
Do they have stats on this? Is this...
Eric stats.
I'm looking it up now to see if I can find something reliable. Yeah, Eric facts, that's what I need. It is apparently 251st most popular in the US.
Is that because of The Little Mermaid?
Okay, this is one out of every 1,047 baby boys born in 2021 are named Eric. So I'd say the odds aren't that bad, but they're also not great.
Yeah, but anyone born in 2021 is 4 years old and probably shouldn't be listening to this podcast.
Yeah, probably not. Off the top of my head, I can think of 2 people in the tabletop content creation sort of space named Eric.
And surely one of them listens.
Well, I don't know that one of them listens. I'm just saying that there are people named Eric who like tabletop games. And I can think of 2 of them.
Yeah, isn't there like a famous board game designer whose name is Eric?
I just know what's Eric playing, and Eric the Barrack.
Eric Lang, that's the guy.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of Eric Lang, who I think is a completely different one from... Wait, are you thinking of Ethan Lang?
No, Eric Lang is a board game designer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So there's 3.
Surely somebody named Eric listens to this podcast.
It sounds like the odds are, 1 in... What did you say?
1,047? What's our age demographic? We can really narrow this
down. If I had to guess, our age demographic is older than us.
You think so?
Yes.
Or maybe older than you.
Okay. Well, Avalon and I are not 30 yet, so most of the people who we know, who we've brought onto the show, who listen to the show, are over 30. So
yeah. I'm going to say 30 is a long way in my rearview mirror at this point.
Yeah, average demographic for our show, people who would know how to install Linux.
Look, installing Linux is easy. Making it work is the difficult part.
Oh, you're telling me. I've got 2 computers that can't run Windows 10 after October, and I'm trying to figure them out.
Still can't believe they're ending support for that.
Yeah. Although a lot of people are playing chicken with them right now. They might extend
They probably will. There's so many people that hate Windows 11.
It's not great. I had to spend about $25 getting different software that made it work like Windows 7.
The best Windows.
Yeah. I was like, okay, well, I just need it to work like Windows 10 did. And ended up making it work like Windows 7 did, which was a nice bonus. Really, all I wanted was to be able to put my taskbar on the left-hand side of my screen.
Wild that they removed that feature.
Yeah, it cost me $5 to put it back.
Also,
or was it 10? It was either 5 or 10. I can't remember now. Anyway, we're off track again. We've got other things to do still, I think.
Yes. I think we are basically done. You seem to know what this cat looks like. But I think you've already worked that one out, isn't it? Like,
oh, yeah, this is a tuxedo cat.
Oh, I was thinking all black.
Oh, you're thinking Bombay?
Yeah.
All right, we can do another Bombay.
I was thinking, I was kind of picturing all black as well. And the travel garb could be something like leather armor, like it's all black cat wearing a black leather jacket. And carrying a katana.
A black trench coat. Yeah.
Yes, trench coat.
Yeah, eventually someone's gonna have to get the heavy cat armor so we can have the cat throw off the trench coat and it's wearing the full armor set underneath with the katana position just so he can grab it with its mouth and all that. Alright, we got it.
Yep, that's cat generation.
Yeah.
Oh, you get 3 Fabula points as well. You spend them in play to reroll dice, basically, and I think that there's a few skills that use them to activate, and then they become XP.
Oh, cool.
And we just start with 3?
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, I think I think that's it. We've catted.
Yep, I think we've got cat.
Nice. Also, just looking through all this and looking through some of the options that we have, I think it would be possible if anyone out there wanted to play as Kiryu Kazuma in this game. I think you could do that.
The character creation system is really flexible, and there's like a bunch of extra classes in all the expansions.
I'm just thinking, like, you take your orator skill, you take maybe rogue. What would be a fury? Using those skills, I imagine you could, and then just take the unarmed strike and improvised weapon stuff for your weapons, and you got Kiryu Kazuma.
I feel like you could get away with making a lot of stuff in this.
Yeah.
Being able to choose multiple classes right off the bat, just
Yeah.
so many options.
You can put together wild custom combinations.
Yep. Anyway, I think if that's the end, did we break any rules?
I don't think so.
We did take
No,
a thing that said we're non-human, so like...
Yeah. Also, on page 159, there is a little bit that says, in Fabula Ultima, your character's species and heritage has no mechanical impact unless you want it to. So by putting it in your identity,
Okay.
there you go. You are allowed to play a cat.
There you go, everyone.
Sweet.
No rules broken. Fabula Ultima, the JRPG tabletop RPG, where you can have a literal cat Dark Knight teamed up with Kiryu Kazuma from Yakuza Like a Dragon if you wanted to.
I think that'd be the start of a great party. Throw Hatsune Miku in there.
There's an actual, singer class in the high fantasy book.
Like, the more we're talking about this, the more it sounds like interstitial.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the character creation system for this game is great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I dig
it's
it.
pretty nice.
Okay, well, Chris, do you have anything you want to plug before we head out of the studio?
I don't think I've got anything specific that's going to be ready to go by the time this episode comes out. So follow me on Blue Sky, Potato Cubed, and you will find out about anything I'm doing as I'm doing it, or buy my stuff. Potatocube.itch.io. Games of all kinds. They're very good, I promise.
And there we go, everyone. All right. Well, with that out of the way, Avalon, do you have a cat pun?
I do.
All right.
What is a good source of potassium for humans and cats alike?
Bananas?
Bananas.
Oh.
Ugh.
You got the audible cringe from the guest. I think that one wins.
I didn't realise you could hear that.
That's the goal. Hey, they're supposed to be puns. They're not supposed to be good.
You got us there.